A little update here. It's the 9th out here. Anyway, I decided I was going to go ahead and yank the doors off this guy and paint the jambs correctly. I might as well while I'm at it. So yeah, I did that. Managed to only wreck 2 of the screws getting them off. Had to use a little heat and stuff, but today's little business is this truck. Got to get it started and moved. I had it running and everything looked good, and then parked it and tried to start it up a couple weeks ago to move it. Heard a backfire, and I've learned when these things, or when this one anyway, backfires, bad stuff happens. Yeah, I guess we can see that. Another bent push rod here. Oh boy. Yeah, the valves are still sticking open, which allows things to get misaligned, and then while the valve's open it'll backfire back, slam that valve up, and if that push rod's not in the right place, that's what happens to it. So anyway, that was a different one than bent the first time, and that one's way beyond, so I went ahead and ordered these. Got a let's see, one of these is open. Full complement here for this guy, and yeah, we'll see how they work out. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and replace the one, and then bump it around until things are loosened up again, and get it lit up and running, get it good and hot, and then dump that oil out of there and put in some fresh, some pretty high detergent and lighter weight, and run it, and just do that a few times. Just fill and dump until I can get this thing cleaned up a little bit, get things unstuck. And I have an idea it's full of sludge and crap, and I'm just going to have to run it and clean it up. I don't want to take it apart to clean it. So we'll see if I can get away with it. If I'm careful and use my little starter switch up here, just for several times, pull the valve covers and start it and watch. Make sure nothing falls apart. Bump it around until I'm sure everything's smooth, and then go ahead and light it up. That maybe eventually it'll clean up enough that I can bolt those things back down. But anyway, at that point I'll be able to put in that full set of push rods. But for today, I just got to get it started, so I'm going to go ahead and put one of those in. There's only one bent. Put everything back together in here. I got this cover loose. But the one that bent this time, let's see, used to be in this hole here, and that one hadn't bent before. It seems to be the intakes that are sticky. So they're the ones that have the issue. So I'm going to have to go ahead and get things cleaned up and see if I can get this thing to run and start, you know, every time, instead of having to deal with this business. But so that's what I'm fixing to do here. Go ahead and get this thing running. Well, it's like an hour later, and you can hear I'm running on 5 right now. I had 3 stuck intakes, and I got 2 of them freed up. The third one was just stuck, and I couldn't even pry it up. I don't know what the deal. It would move like 1/8 of an inch, and that was it. So I decided to pull the push rod out. You can see it back here. Just sitting here, not doing anything. So I went ahead and pulled the push rod out, got it to light up on 5, and then I just tapped the edge of it, you know, tapped around the spring while it was running, and finally she popped up where it belongs. So now it's all the way up in the seat, and I'm running on 5. I'm going to let it run a little bit. I poured, well actually, I put some the yellow stuff, diesel, in a little oil can and pumped some straight down the carb while it was running. I'm just trying to clean up those intake valves. It's only the intakes I got an issue with, and I imagine they're all gummed up. So I was going to let it run a bit, get good and warm, and then I'll put that push rod back in there and turn it over with my little button guy until I can get that valve to follow the push rod and the rocker arm. Once it does that, I'll go ahead and light it up on all 6 and let it run a while, and throw a little more diesel down the carb, just try and get it good and clean. And I'll dump the oil out of this turkey and change it all out and start it up again, let it run a while. So anyway, but yeah, running on 5's better than running on 3, so that's where we're at now. All right, about 3 minutes later, and there you go, it's 6-cylinder again. All I did was put the push rod back in there, and then kept my finger right on top here, and went ahead and turned it over with my button, started it up, and just kept my finger on there. And after just about, I don't know, 10 seconds, the valve freed up, and yeah, we got a 6-cylinder. So anyway, I got to run this a while, get it good and warm, get that old funky oil good and warm, and then I'm going to dump it out of there, put in some good stuff. While it's running, I've been throwing a little more diesel down the carb, and hopefully that'll clean some of that crap out of those intake valves. Atomize it, suck it down through the intake, and I don't know, it should go by those valves and clean some of that crap off of there. We'll see. Anyway, yeah, Saturday, just afternoon now. Well, it's a big one, but yeah, I got the nose in here, so I guess we're going to change the oil on this thing. Well, being as I haven't done this before, I grabbed a pretty good sized pan there. I'm sure this thing holds a lot of oil. I have no idea about any sizes here or anything right there. I just grabbed a wrench, see if we got the right tool for the job. Ooh, in fact, it is upside down. It is a 1 1/8. It's a big ass wrench. So yeah, that'll deal with that. Looks like the old inspection cover here has seen a rock. My uncle was a geologist, paleontologist. He spent a lot of time out in the desert and various places looking for rocks and dinosaur bones and things. Anyway, I remember a time going up to look for some fossils, and we were on a pretty good incline, shale. Just shale rock anyway. Always run them in 2-wheel drive until you can't go, and then you put it in 4 and try to get out of where you're at. You don't want to run them in 4-wheel drive and get stuck, then you're screwed, especially when you're on the side of a mountain above the tree line and there's nothing to hook onto on a flat shale area. Only way to go is back down, and sometimes that's a scary proposition. But anyway, I guess I'll pull that big thing off of there and see what's up. And then we have the filter somewhere. We got the filter right there. Can type. I do have a paper filter. I think it's the right one. It took me 3 tries to get one that looked like it might fit the can, but Yeah, some of the parts stores just don't know about this old 305E V6. Anyway, I think I might have the right filter. I'm going to pull that off after, but first thing to do is to dump the oil out of there. Well, I'm trying to keep the mess down to a minimum here, so this filter can, if we can get in there, this filter can that I'm draining here, what I did is I just kind of wedged my wrench here. It's got a big offset in it from the exhaust down over the leaf spring here to hold that can up. Got the thing loose there so it can drain out the bottom of this guy before I pull that can down, because if you just take that thing off right off the bat, it's full of oil and you end up doing a balancing act trying to hold that nut up in the hole there, put your finger in the dike kind of deal, and oil is everywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and let that pee out like that into my pan and then deal with it. First thing I got to do here is check the filter I bought, make sure it's the right one, and then yeah, down inside there's some sludge and crap, so throw that guy in the parts washer, clean him out. But I got to check on my filter if I can remember where I put it, so I guess I'll have to hunt that down. Alright, looks like we got the correct filter. It's the right diameter and same height, so yeah, came with a little gasket there. So I'm going to go ahead and clean things up and put this thing back together. I'm fixing to put that filter back in, and I've gone ahead and cleaned up in there. Hopefully that oil won't drip on my lens. Still dripping a tiny bit, but yeah, right up in here, little round guy, is apparently a pressure relief. It's on a spring and it goes in and out freely. Not stuck, so I'm thinking it's alright. Anyway, I've cleaned all the surfaces, and yeah, looks pretty good up in there. So I'm going to go ahead and put that filter back in there, and we'll see how it goes. Well, I had this thing off for, I don't know, a couple hours here, probably monkeying with it, but I put oil in it, decided to bump it around, fill that filter up. I put 5 quarts, bump it around, see what the capacity was, and as soon as I started bumping it, this push rod right there, see the wire on it, fell out. And anyway, that's an intake. So what I've done here for right now, for temporary, I can't tear this thing apart right now. It's not on the menu. I have other things I'd rather do. But I need to be able to fire it up and move it around, and I don't want to keep having to put these push rods back. So I use a little piece of MIG wire. Guess you can see it. I went around the push rod once, gave it one twist. It's loose. You know, you can, push rod still rotates fine. And then up around the nut here, just to hold that thing, hold the rocker arm to it in case the valve here doesn't return quick enough. Once it starts up and starts running, everything's cool. But it's just when I first start cranking it, when she's cold, that I got this issue. And until I get all that cleaned up, I'll probably end up having to take the heads off to get whatever tarnishing crap is on those intakes cleaned off. But anyway, that's another day. So in the meantime, got all these little bits of MIG wire on here. All the intakes, the exhausts don't seem to have a problem. So I was going to go ahead and see if I can fire this thing up now with the fresh oil, and we'll see how she does. Anyway, well, I hear a diesel. I guess my dad just is going to come over and visit for a while. And yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and see if this bastard will light up. But I'll say hello to my dad and get that all going and come back. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and try to light this up after the oil change with those wires on there. We'll have to see if it works. Put a little choke to it.
Keys on.
I guess. Keys on. Looks like my wires are doing their thing. Get a little fuel to it and maybe it'll run. There we go, there's a little squirt. That's sticky valve. All my push rods are still hanging in there. Yeah, it smells like varnish. Well, that's that damn fuel too. I gotta set the idle up on that. Pull my throttle lever. But yeah, I threw a couple more good gallons at it. Yeah, but it works fine once it's running. It's just the initial crank where they stick. And then once she's running, they're all working fine. A little bit of clack there. Anyway, looks like my little wire business will keep me going here. At least allow me to fire it up and move it around when I need to. And then when I get some time, I'll clean it the right way. In the meantime, as I run it, I'm going to dump a little bit of cleaner down the throat of the carburetor and hopefully dissolve some of that varnish and crap that's in there. And we'll just have to see how it goes. I know that this engine is kind of gummed up because I'm not getting nearly as much oiling as I should be out of my little holes here. And I've got 60 pounds of oil pressure right now, so I've got oil pressure, but I'm not getting the oiling I should out of my little orifices here. And so I need to get this thing all cleaned out. I'll just have to keep working at it. And anyway, so that was today's little business. Thanks for watching.